Before the dawn of the sun, I keep my eye on the moon. Taking off on latitude like the witch on the broom. Flying balloon, solar disc rising over lagoon. Bending a spoon, God is thought a symbol of the baboon. Greetings, welcome back once again in a space called the House of the Hoodie under the House of the Remedies. And today we're going to be talking about Itongo, or rather the divine cosmic principle known as Uma Arts. So as we know, as we are geographically presented here in the Southern Hemisphere, right, with an adoption of the lunar and water calendar system. So like at the prevalent time, we are in the season of Ma'at. So who is Ma'at? Ma'at, publicly known as this lady of justice, a beautiful lady, represented or rather presented with a feather on top of her head, with the scales of justice, because she also an aspect of godhood that represents righteousness, justice, and the order, and the love and the balance, hence the scales. So but more than being just a divine principle represented by this lady, this divine lady, Ma'at is also an epitome of the divine cosmic codes or coding system in which now the universe was created in using the intelligence of the godhood known as Jehudi. So Jehudi is consort to Ma'at. Ma'at is consort to Jehudi as well. So we know from different detailing the story of the creation, it is said at the beginning there was just like a thickness of nothingness, disorder, entropy, just waters of chaos, but not just waters in a form of like H2O, about etheric waters. The everything was just like floating in this dense thickness of nothingness, disorder. Everything had no form. The whole thing was devoid of meaning until the godhood, the omnipresent godhood, goddesshood, called out of the darkness, order, for the creation to take form and shape, to make sense. So it was Ma'at again, this divine principle called Ma'at, that was auxiliary, was of help in terms of now creating the earth by this divine intelligence of God, the Jehudi, So once that divine intelligence manifest into the now like the realm of space-time, the tangible world, you understand, it takes form now via these divine principles called Uma'at. We are on order. The earth was created in an orderly fashion. Hence we see with him after is winter, there will definitely be spring. After spring is summer, and then autumn, ganjalo, without any failure. You understand? It's just an annual cyclical system that we get to see. How our body cells grow, how they rejuvenate themselves, how crops grow. Everything is fashioned in the orderly form within the vast spectrum of nature. Why? Because behind everything again there is this divine intelligence known as Jehudi. But once now it's becomes pragmatic in the world of time space, it is known as the Ma'at order. We understand, because everything in an order. So more than being just a lady of justice, of balance, of love and beauty, Ma'at also symbolizes the divine mathematical system that was now recently found by like the modern scientists, the modern physicists, the modern mathematicians, such as Sir Robert de Marias, who once devised the system, another sect of mathematics, known as the Trigintandunions. It's another branch of the algebra. So this algebra system is a divine mathematics in which now the universe was created. We're talking about now giving a shape and order. Out of that wavery state of disorder. So it was created, the whole thing, the whole world, the whole universe phenomena was created in an orderly fashion. Divine mathematics, not just divine mathematics was a part of it, known as the Trigintandunions. So it uses other sub algebras known as the Sedonions, the octonions, and the quaternions, using the complex numbers, and the real numbers, from 0 to 9. So basically the octonions, octonions number 8, the quaternions, the phenomena of the because the earth, again, as the universe was created, it was created in hierarchical form, in densities, you understand. So when you talk about now the first density, we understand the physicality of things. We talk about now the realm of numbers, but now basic numbers, as I said, 0 to 9, about real numbers. And then on the second density or second dimension, we also have the complex numbers, and we also have like the fourth dimension, about like the 3D that we're in, and above it is in the fourth dimension where now go apply our quaternions. And then on the 16th dimension, we have the science of the Sedonions. So basically with the Sedonions, they are using basically our basic elements, and then our basic elements are called I-21, the basic elements of the Sedonions. So are also now using the square roots, that repeats itself, using the pi system, that was crucially used by our ancestors now in erecting these monumental, magnificent structures, because it required the mathematics, divine system of mathematics, for one to build up a pyramid. That sort of architecture wouldn't just come around without any application of the divine science and the mathematics. So this is what they knew. Using the 5 system, so it has the Sedonions with the 21 basic elements. It's under it has sub loops that are also 21. So pairing this 21 plus another 21 is when there are like 42. So this 42 was also a reflection, that we had when we went through the book of the coming forth by the day, known as the Bertem Heru, the West call it the Book of the Dead. But it speaks about the scribe, the Tebis scribes called Hanufa or Ani. So Ani, the story of Ani is all about now the transmigration of the soul from the realm of the living now to the realm of death, outlining that death is not like a termination point. It basically is a portal that it's an opening of one cycle in order to prelude for the next one to open up, because no one can kill energy. Once the energy is with whatsoever purpose in this space-time, it has to be transformed into another state of vibration. So energy can never die. It can not be created as well, but rather be transmuted into another state of existence. So now with the story of Hanufa, scribe Anu, he went underground during the passage of death, which is another, not just death, literal death, but spiritual death as well. One can die while one is still alive. So the scribe was taken, to the realm called the Amjuet. That's the realm of Osa, the higher soul, the judge. Your higher soul will judge you. So I need to we out of that school of thought. But today is this white mark date in the sky. I don't know, maybe with a rod commanding everyone. And whosoever defies his rules, there will be this particular place burning with furnace, and then there's this agent there created by the very same guy, or bees with a fork, and horns, bees, lose Satan, there's nothing like that, but we know that when you talk about now the passage of death, we speak about now the transformation of the spirit from one form to another, to take another form, another shape in another, external, or another extension, of the energy. So Hanover was taken, rather initiated, through the passage of death, was taken to the Amjuet, the realm of the higher soul, where the soul passes a judgment. And so each and every action that has taken place while one is still living, so it's got to do with your karmic retribution, your karmic cycles. It's nothing like punishment, no. But what goes around comes around, as above so below. Every action in a reaction in corner. That's just one of the laws of nature. So Anof was taken via the passage of the Amjuet, this realm of Osa, of the higher soul, the underground plane of the spirit. So at the gate of the Amjuet, he met up with 7 gates. These 7 gates are the divine. They basically they are the basis of the multiplication table known as the Fano plane. Now kuma octonians, on the 8th dimension. 7 gates. And then Magangena via the 7 gates before proceeding to the realm of green reeds. He had to be tested, he had to be judged by Ama judges. First I-21, the 21 elements of the Sidonians, and I represent like now Ama the negative confessions of my arts, and good thing. Exeni in the morning, we have to utter these as a prayer, as a meditational prayer. You have to utter these 42 laws. I'm not gonna kill. I'm not gonna commit adultery. I'm not a liar. I don't steal, from God's offering table. I don't, commit I don't commit like murder, in any form, I don't commit, perjury. I don't bear wrong witness against my neighbor. I don't get blah blah blah. So Isaiah 42, and then later on another segment. Now, when the day now is being wrapped up, you have to confess again, that positive. I have not sinned. I have not do this. I have not committed adultery. I have not. You understand? So it's 21 plus 21. These judges who it's not just like an astro-mythological story, but it is a tale, with an underlying, complex factors, detailing the divine mathematics that was needed in order to create the universe, to give universe order, because my art is also about order and the balance. About 21 negative confessions, 21 negative confessions, 21 plus 21, 42 laws of my art. So the ancient Kemites, the ancient ancestors, they knew about this sacred divine mathematics that comprise the whole thing, the whole phenomena of the universe. So Uma Arts is the order system that restores the soul once it has lost its own path from the state of righteousness. It brings back order from its disorder. It brings back justice from a state of injustice. It brings back, a state of righteousness from a state of unrighteousness. So we've heard about other, goddesses and gods, queens and kings, of ancient times, who were sort of like an intermediary, agent, before, between, the godhood and their subjects, that they governed, like mankind, or the whole populace. But they were eligible to be on that pedestal of royalty, of godhood, of kingship and queenship, via the applications of now these Martian precepts, these precepts of art. You understand? You wouldn't just be a king on the throne or be enthroned just because of your blood, and then even royalty wasn't according to Igas, blood, we understand, but via the divine divine choice of the Most High, we understand that once he or she has ordained that particular eligible soul who would arise on the throne, and then uzorise on the throne, by now assessing now the quality of the soul, is it like now eligible enough to uphold highly the precepts of art in order to lead the people, or to lead the nation, towards the direction of righteousness, balance, abundance, flourishing, So if we need this earth to be restored into the natural, order system, if we want to be paid again to the natural rhythms of Mother Earth, my art precepts or my art laws, are the key, are the prerequisites, for us to bounce back to that godhood, to that goddesshood essence once more, or state of being. So, art represents order. Art represents the divine mathematics, the subtle mathematics that Utehudi used in terms of governing these, archetypal elements to form an interplay to give a universe is sense, to proceed forth, the what you call the wheel of evolution. So let us embrace this divine principle called art. And we know when we speak about Uhanufa or Ani wasn't just a particular person, but it represents the essence of being in everyone in a life. Everyone at one point will detach from this earth, whether still alive or in the stage of now, like literal death, because as I said, one can die while still breathing, especially when the soul is is much more plunged in the forces of the ego. So you are more of like a living dead, because we're presided over by sets representing the forces of darkness, of entropy. So in that state, it's only my arts, my arts being used by this divine wisdom known as Unomkubulwane or Set, the consort to the higher soul. It is the Set that's once resurrected the higher soul while the higher soul was dismantled or dismembered rather into 14 pieces. Via the precepts of my art. That's because Oset is an embodiment of my art paired with Usiswa Kuneptet. So they form the art system. Their responsibility is to propagate the divine gospel of art. So that's what Oset is all about. So Oset is my art in another sort of overstanding. So it's only the divine virtuous principles of the godhood that can resurrect the soul, from the state of darkness or entropy or disorder, by applying or putting into practice rather the 42 precepts of Ma'at, which has their own origins from the divine sacred mathematical sequences or patterns, from which this world was formed in. So let us embrace Suma Arts as a season Gamma Art. Ma-arts, Jehuti, Ramaseti, Ra Siyabonga, Mthethokazi, the one who gave order, you know, to the world during the state of chaos, the one who gave his sense, the one who gave a sense of balance, righteousness, love, you know, via this principle called Ma'at by the divine grace of Uramaseti. So we give thanks to Ma'at. Ma'at.
Before the dawn of the sun, I keep my eye on the moon. Taking off on latitude like the witch on the broom. Flying balloon, solar disc rising over lagoon. Bending a spoon, God is thought a symbol of the baboon. Man is sky crazy.